all Canadian families, we are on the Titanic. The iceberg hasn't hit yet, so we're not sinking. If we don't shift course, that iceberg is coming for us.
I'm not planning on leaving. I'm fighting. We want to make this country incredibly great.
We begin to see that it really isn't about diversity. It is about punishing the people who perform beyond the mean.
For people who don't care, where do you see Canada going?
Oh, it's catastrophic. It is that bad.
What is the carbon tax doing to lower carbon emissions?
Exactly.
I love this country. I was born in this country. I believe in what this country stands for. I believe in its people. I believe as a place opportunity for all to come and live, but the path that we're on is not working, and we are not going to be what we're supposed to be if we continue along this path.
Yeah.
Citizens, what's going on?
Citizens of Canada.
Welcome to the show. We got a couple things to go through today. A little bit of a slower news cycle over the last couple of weeks.
It's a little quieter, a little weird.
But we found some good stuff.
Yeah, there is a lot going on. There's a lot of interesting things, but not like what we're used to. We're used to like threatening
during
the
election.
sovereignty of our nation.
Yeah, exactly. We need Trump to come up with something.
Yeah, Trump's been quiet. What's going on?
Well, first off, the king is in the room. King Charles.
Which King Charles are you talking about?
The only King Charles. There's only one King Charles, isn't there?
I thought you would know what I was talking about. The dog.
The dog?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No,
you have no idea what I'm talking about?
Hold on. Does anybody know what Jeremy's talking about? Let us know.
It's okay. It's weird. You're gonna be like, what? But there's this like viral sensation of this dog. Remember? Oh yeah, I showed it to you. Remember the dog video I showed you when the white dog walked by and the black dog bowed down and then it went and put its hand. That's King. That dog is called King Charles. And so for those who don't know, it is massively exploding online. And there's
this is the alpha dog thing.
Yeah. So there will be people.
This is not what we intended to get to, everyone. Just so you know.
That's why I giggled when the intro was happening. I was like, "Which King Charles are we going to talk about?"
Yeah.
And this is a little side thing. So this dog is viral, exploding, tens of thousands, millions of views, just exploding on this thing because King Charles is losing his kingship. Like he's being challenged by other dogs and he's fighting for it.
Okay, next.
And like I get videos sent to me 3 to 5 times a day about whether King Charles is still king of the pack.
Next episode, focus on
Guys,
King Charles.
Paul,
let's get back.
You got to throw a quick clip of what I'm talking about so people know. Show King Charles.
Let's get back to the elderly King Charles.
Before we get there, no, I got to show it to you. I know. Just bear with me. Trust me. It's good.
What are you showing?
I have to show the dog, King Charles. Give me a second.
Do you think this is what the citizen audience is coming to this channel for?
Yes.
It's for the.
This is the original video. I gotta show it to you. I know you've seen it.
Are you looking for it?
There's so many people voice over it and like break it down play by play on what's happening with the dog. Okay, I think this is it. Nope, we're getting there. There's hundreds of them.
We are giving valuable time to this. It's going to be a biggest payoff. Yeah, at least when the video shows, let us know in the comments if it's worth it.
I am getting there.
How many
I can't believe how. Oh, here you go.
Saved on your phone.
Okay, so this is it.
Okay,
I'm going to restart. So I'm going to cast. Don't put it up yet because I'm just trying to get it all queued up. And then here it is. So for all the citizens out here, you're going to be like, what? So I'm going to do a kind of play-by-play breakdown. Here it is. So this is the dog pack thing. So they're all fighting like this. I want you to pay attention to a couple of things. This is wild. So they're all fighting for like kingship. And watch when the real dog walks by. The black dog, did you see him bow there? The white dog is King Charles. And the literally black dog goes like, oh, crap. And he walks through and watch what he does. He just like asserts his authority. Immediately, this guy just surrenders. He's like, knock it off. And so this is the viral sensation. So there's hundreds and hundreds of videos of these breakdowns, voiceovers, YouTube channels. Anyway.
Okay, well.
That's my random rant
about
this. Go check out King Charles.
Jeremy. Stop advocating for this dog. But I'm going to make a really good transition here.
I want people to know what currently is happening. You know,
is this
viral
symbolic?
Sensation.
Is this symbolic of the Mark Carney King Charles relationship? The king walks in. Let's get on to this because we have big news going on we want to get to. I can't believe you went there. King Charles is here for 2-day trip with Queen Camilla.
The Bloc
And,
didn't show up for the throne speech.
Yep, throne speech happened.
I can't believe how many people are ignoring that. There's no one talking about that.
Yesterday morning. He had his speech, which we'll go through. We'll go through some of the highlights and some of the things he said, whether it's good or bad sentiment, and let's analyze it from our perspective, what we think of it. I want to touch on Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah.
Where's he? What's he been doing?
He's in the corner.
He's in the corner of the room, quite literally and proverbially right.
Do you have a photo now?
He is, we're awaiting the by-election, which has not been announced yet. There's still a process that has to go through. So we want to update you guys on the process of where Pierre Poilievre is with his by-election that has not been set, but it will come at some point in Crowfoot riding here in Alberta. And then the other thing I wanted to get to as well, Jeremy, was we missed talking about former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And we wanted to talk about him again today. And we're going to analyze his shoes.
His shoes. I was going to say, we're
talking
talking
about
shoes
of choice while King Charles was doing his throne speech. So let's start there. Let's bring up Justin Trudeau's shoes.
There you go.
Fashion forward man. I think it's part of the reason why he got elected in the first place. But you look at, you got it coming up?
It's casting.
Okay.
There you go. Got it.
There we go.
There's the shoes. Let's zoom in nicely.
Look at those shoes. With the blue suit.
At the throne speech.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we have a vertical here, so you guys can't see that, can you?
I'd rock those shoes. I think
there you go.
They're great shoes.
Looked up the value. They're about $120, $110.
We're going to start to count politicians and sneakers.
Trudeau's shoes.
Yep. Anyways, that's non-serious.
Random. That's weird, though. What do you think? Do you think that's the... Do you think it's
I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. I
don't
don't
have
have a problem with
So
it.
you think it's a fashion statement?
Yeah.
Or do you think it's a mistake?
No, I think he chose to do it because he liked how it looked.
Or do you think he tried to distract because he knew people would talk about it?
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Makes me wonder.
I don't have a problem with it.
I don't know.
I'd probably wear that.
I don't think I would to the King's speech.
No. Well, let's. I want to talk about Pierre Poilievre. Let's go there first. Just remind everyone, where is Pierre Poilievre at? We've seen videos of him going around probably a couple weeks ago visiting the new riding that he will be running in Battle River, Crowfoot, Alberta. Him and his wife walking through the farmers' fields.
Though, eh?
Yeah,
I'm kind of forcing my way in.
I think campaign manager needs to be reassessed, or whoever's giving advice in terms of what they're doing. But obviously on April...
Talking about the entire campagn of Pierre.
I think so. And even, I'm not sure if they're continuing with the same person.
You're really quiet. Eat your mic.
Yeah, but it's I feel like there's a gate on my mic. My volume goes in and out. So Poilievre lost his riding, as everyone knows, in Carleton, and by about 4,000 votes to Bruce Fanjoy. Unexpected defeat. I bet he was really feeling it yesterday in the House of Commons during King Charles' speech, because you have everyone in their spots, but he does not have a seat. He was in the corner of the room. So
I was trying to find a photo of that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
But can you imagine for your confidence or your ego? That's not good, right? Because you're on the precipice of being prime minister, and now you're almost
massive
ousted,
contrast,
temporarily ousted, right? He's not done. He's not stepping aside. But that would just be a tough day, I think, to be back in that place, hearing the King's speech.
What are your thoughts? Maybe I don't know standard procedure, but does the crown usually show up when
I think this is the third time.
I was gonna say I haven't seen this often. So is this?
No, it's the third. I think it's the third time in history.
I guess the question I'm asking is, why did the King show up this time?
Well, Mark Carney invited him.
I know,
or Governor General, I guess.
Are they buddy? Is this something? Do they have a background I don't know about?
Well, he's a former governor of the Bank of England. I don't know how much. Probably
how much relationship comes from that.
Yeah, I'm sure they maybe walked in the same rooms, but typically you have the Prime Minister of England who would inform the King or Queen of all the.
I just know there's going to be 90 conspiracy theories.
Yeah, but when Mark Carney was the governor of the Bank of England, obviously King Charles was not king, right?
Exactly.
And so there may have been interaction there, but it isn't interesting. I don't have an assessment as to why, except Mark Carney has said some things about our relationship with the U.S. as we know it is over, right? He's made those comments, although his sentiment was very different with Trump. He talked about the fundamentally reimagining our economy. His first trip after becoming prime minister was to the UK. Did he go to France as well? I think he did. But that was within 36 hours he was there. And no doubt he has spent a lot of time in the EU style of governance with that type of people. And under the idea of Carney talking about bolstering the Canadian economy and not being as dependent on the U.S., that type of stuff. He's for sure going to be going to the EU, even though the UK is not part of the EU.
Yep.
But there's going to be probably more dependence and diversification. We'll see. So who knows?
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. We'll see how it plays out. But back to Pierre Poilievre. Obviously, there was Damien Carrick stepped down in Battle River Crowfoot, and he won with 80% of the vote. That's how strong of a conservative stronghold this is. And so obviously he's resigning, which is going to trigger a by-election. He has not yet resigned because there's a couple timeline things that have to happen. If you're wondering what's happening with Pierre Poilievre, here's the timeline of what has to happen. So he has not secured a seat in the House of Commons, so obviously he can't serve as the official leader of the opposition. But after Carrick's resignation, it cannot take place for 30 days after the publication of the election results in the Canadian Gazette or Canada Gazette, which occurred on May 15th. So that occurred, what's today, the 20...
Yeah, 10 days ago.
So 10 days ago or so. So he's not going to resign for another week and a half, Damien Carrick. And then after he resigns, the Governor General must issue a writ for a by-election no sooner than in between 11 days and 180 days after the MP stepped down. So that is the timeline we're waiting on. The minimum length of a campaign as well is 36 days. So if the Governor General does issue what he needs to issue 11 days after he steps down, and there's a 36-day by-election, the earliest that this by-election could happen is August. That's assuming Mark Carney plays balls like he says he will, and the Governor General issues what they issue. So that's essentially what's happening in that place. But the other interesting thing was that, remember that committee? They're called the longest ballot committee, the one that had 90-plus names on Pierre Poilievre's riding.
99 names.
Yeah,
98
so
names.
they obviously targeted Pierre Poilievre's Carleton riding. They're planning as well on targeting this next one, but we'll see if it actually makes a difference because of how such a conservative stronghold that area is.
Yeah, I guarantee you they picked that. The fact that there's 80% stronghold, that was very strategic, I'm sure, to guarantee. Because if Pierre doesn't get in, they're going to have to change things all around. It's happening to my mic too. I hear my voice in and out.
Yeah, it feels quiet and loud all of a sudden. Do you think Max, or any update on Max and Bernier? And this, he talked about the PPC running in that by-election. Did he say he himself was going to? Did you?
Yeah, he was talking about that he would run in the same riding to try to.
Did you hear, Jeff? Did you hear that? Max running himself. So I haven't heard anything official announcement on that because obviously there's no announcement for a by-election, but we'll see if he actually does that or not. Again, it's just, I think, another opportunity, attention grab, whatever you want to call it. So we'll see what happens there. That'd be interesting, though, because
for sure,
Max, I can see Matt, if he does throw his name in the ring, I can see him talking about advocating for Alberta independence more than Pierre would.
Oh, for sure.
And I wonder if there would be enough of a stronghold there to be like, well, maybe we try to get Max in. Because, anyways, we'll see what happens there. You want to move on to King?
Yeah, let's do that. I'm just looking to see if Maxime officially said it. The by-election prompted a Conservative MP, Damien, after his losing, given the riding's strong history. No, it doesn't say it's solid that he said it or not.
Okay.
No formal announcement has been made. So
I saw something on Twitter or X. So King Charles III, Queen Camilla, they're obviously here they were here in a 2-day state visit to Canada, marking his first trip to the country since ascending to the throne. Couple days, he did the King's speech, the opening of Parliament, the throne speech to open the 45th Parliament here in Canada, which is rare, by the way.
Very.
Because it has only happened, I think, 3 times that a reigning monarch has actually been in the House of Commons in Canadian history. Last time Queen Elizabeth did it was 1977. So it's been a while since that happened. So you're right. It's an interesting question. I don't have answers. If you guys are watching and you have thoughts on that, what was the reason that Mark Carney is reaching out to King Charles? Carney is a guy with a plan. You can tell. And we'll see how he walks things out. But there's some breadcrumbs that are coming. Although I've been thrown a couple times by his relationship with Donald Trump, how that seemed thumbs up. He used to be elbows up with Donald Trump, and now it's thumbs up in the photo with him. So that's shifted.
There's lots of jokes going around about elbows up because there was huge hate. Hate's probably I don't know. Hate's a little bit of a strong word. towards Trump, but it was like the campaign was built around trashing Trump. Then he goes to see Trump. They look like they're buds. And then to see Trump's video he made of Carney, that was like a review of the visit, was like a highlight reel that you would love to have.
Yeah.
And
it's like a bromance
yeah,
video.
it really was. Like it was like really beautiful and well made.
It's like you had an epic weekend with the boys, like a 4-day golf trip.
And then you made a highlight reel.
Bring together the footage and you put sweet music to it and you send it to each other in the group chat. That was the type of video that it was. So
my point on that is that we're hearing one thing, seeing another. And that's what's weird. Because the King's speech was quite, in my opinion, there was a lot of things that were quite optimistic, wise, all sorts of stuff. That was talking about balancing the budget, reducing government growth from 9% year down to 2%, discussing all sorts of stuff. So I'm like, okay, these are good ideas. So
they're good things to say.
Yeah, I know.
And
that's
Carney has said something. Like you have to. This is the thing, you guys. We have to give praise where praise is due, and you can criticize where things you need to criticize. And there's been some good things that have been said, but I need to see a lot of follow through. But also, I will say there's a lot of wordplay going on, and there's a lot of nuance between the words that I think give them opportunity to. I'm just concerned with the actual plan, because it's easy to say things, but when you lack detailed plans or you lack a detailed vision, it's like, well, how can we even assess what you're doing?
Yeah.
But did you know that Queen Camilla was also sworn into the Canadian Privy Council during a formal ceremony that happened? Kind of not really big news, but
didn't know that.
It is what it is. Okay, let's go through King Charles' speech, because there's a couple of key points that I wanted to bring up, I thought, with our remaining time here.
Yep.
So he did deliver his speech. I said earlier is the third time a reigning monarch has performed this duty in Canadian history, and the address, which crafted by Prime Minister Mark Carney's government, outlined Canada's legislative agenda, even though there's heightened tensions with the U.S. So that's interesting as well. And I know Trump, he has a state visit coming up.
June 6th. For the June 15th for the G7, right?
No. State visit to England.
Oh.
I think he's the only, I could be wrong, he's the only politician that has gotten a second official invite back for a state visit.
Interesting.
Which some people in the UK are up in arms about that. Okay, so first thing, King Charles emphasized, obviously, Canada's sovereignty. That was one of the big things he hit off the top. Yeah. Do you have a video of him? We should watch his opening. Like maybe just find if we can the opening part of the speech and just get a feel for it. But he emphasized Canada's sovereignty, affirming that the nation would remain strong and free. This is obviously a direct response to President Trump's remarks he's done in the past about, although he has not recently, but about annexing Canada as the 51st state, which we know Trump is a guy that always comes over the top, and there's really other things that is going on behind it. So that's important to look at. That is obviously going to be a big part of it, because Mark Carney was running on that whole sentiment, right? Elbows up, fight America. Canada is our own strong sovereign nation. We have to come together, unify as Canadians to fight this giant threat. Obviously, all that rhetoric as well is a convenient distraction away from the Liberals' track record, because Mark Carney is inheriting a ship that was more than sinking. It was pretty much underwater.
Yep.
And somehow this was enough of a diversion. Here we go.
So here it is. It's about 30 minutes long.
That we are gathered on the unceded territory of the Algonquin and the Shinabeg people. This land acknowledgement is a recognition of shared history as a nation, while continuing to deepen my own understanding. It is my great hope that in each of your communities and collectively...
I should pause it. Doesn't this feel a little bit hypocritical? Like that, when I was watching this part of it, this is literally the face to the monarch that has conquered the land that he's acknowledging, which is just so bizarre. You know what I mean? It's like the land acknowledgements, and then is it's interesting. I can't wrap my head around it, because it's literally been, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah.
And so that's what he's doing here, is he's doing the land acknowledgement. So my point is it seems kind of virtue signaling. It seems like it's odd.
And there's a lot of people who, you see this throughout Canada, and this might be a little I don't care if it's bad territory. It's just, it is the ultimate sign of virtue signaling. Like, there are real steps that we can do as Canadians, as a Canadian government, to actually bridge and create a better relationship with Indigenous peoples, and also help Indigenous peoples future. Like we've talked about this
instead
in the
of
past.
just saying
instead
this
of just stating things like this, like
at the beginning of a speech.
100%. There are real things, and Justin Trudeau was one of the guys that did not come through on any of his promises in terms of this truth and reconciliation.
There's still places up north in Manitoba that have no clean water.
Ontario,
that is
running
insane.
water, electricity.
I know.
The amount of money that has been pledged to go towards this stuff too, it is insane. So when you see this, that's why I have a bad taste in my mouth about it, because it's only in word and there's no action.
I know.
And there are real practical things. And there's like Frontier Center for Public Policy. There's other think tanks that have actually put together great plans.
Real plans.
Onto how we can actually build a future together and still respect each other's identities and cultural histories, but still forging a future together. And guess what? This virtue signaling stuff, for some reason, it appeases Canadians when you're doing nothing for it.
Nothing for it. Except for saying a couple of sentences at the beginning of every event. Anyway, that's my point.
As a country, a path is found toward truth and reconciliation in both word and deed. This is my 20th visit to Canada, spread over the course of more than half a century, and my first as sovereign. As I've said before, every time I come to Canada, a little more of Canada seeps into my bloodstream, and from there, straight to my heart.
Anyway, it's about 35 minutes long.
Yeah, we got a hard count today, right?
Yeah.
So we have 5 minutes left. A couple of things he talked about. So obviously he stated, as he continues on the speech, you guys should watch it for yourselves, Canada will remain strong and sovereign, standing firm amid external pressures. Great to say. The praise is emphasizing Canada's sovereignty. It's commendable. It's good. It resonates with conservative values of our national identity and our self-determination. Critically, though, what I would say is that's lofty and great, but again, lacks clarity.
How?
Exactly how will we bolster our sovereignty in practical terms, especially since we do have currently a little bit of a strained relationship with the U.S.
Well, and one of the things you and I have been talking through, and I can't remember if we said this on the show or not, but I know on the show we've discussed about the amount of tankers that come to Atlantic Canada. Between 3 to 11 tankers a day come from Saudi Arabia into Atlantic Canada every day. So you can imagine the highway of traffic in the Atlantic Ocean. It would be massive. But what you and I were talking about, and you guys heard it here first, honestly, I've heard no one say this, is when Trump went and made all those deals in the Middle East, one of the questions that came up in one of our conversations that you and I were having was, is Trump planning on cutting that oil off eventually? And if he does...
Wait. Are you moving to conspiracy?
Conspiracy, 100%.
This is interesting, though.
At least I'm admitting it.
Yeah, this is interesting.
If he cuts that oil off through a deal with Saudi Arabia, we're screwed, man. Like, what do we do? And that makes us wonder if that's one of the first blocks to fall to crush the Canadian economy to force.
So you're saying with Trump's trip to the Middle East, building those relationships, more investment in the U.S., hey, Saudi, do you mind just cutting off some of that oil to Canada?
Just bring those ships
help me
down
in
to
my
the US.
Position with we don't know what he wants to do. I still think it's Alberta is in the sights, but the rest of Canada could care less.
It would bring Canada to its knees. And
that's an interesting theory.
And
that would be a massive economical.
That would change everything.
Move. That's war.
And the real point there is that we are reliant on so many people outside of ourselves. And that's the real problem.
One other thing King Charles said, obviously in continuing to bolster what Mark Carney and his government wants to do, Canada will enhance military capacity and collaborate. This is the weird thing, though. Collaborate with European allies under the Rearm Europe initiative. So great, strengthening our military. We need to. We are so dependent on the U.S., and it's been a weak point for us.
It feels like such a lost cause, though, at this point. Like, I guess there's no lost cause in that, and it's wise, of course. Like, Trump's talking about the Golden Dome right now. Carney expressed interest in being a part of the Golden Dome. For those who don't know what that is, it's a play of the name of the Iron Dome, which Israel has. which is
is a funny. Russia,
I know,
North Korea,
Iron Dome,
and
right?
China. No, they've all said they are concerned about this increasing the arms race in the world. It's like, look at the three countries that came together. We don't like this.
I know.
You guys are
even
pushing
Germany,
it too far.
Germany apparently for the first. Have you seen anything with Germany?
No.
Germany has increased. So they had these World War II accords that would limit them. I guess they were called, that would limit their capacity to build certain things, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Just this last week, they have kind of broken through all of those limitations that they've been given since World War II in increasing their army, their capacity, people. They put 4,800 troops outside of their country for the first time since World War II. Anyway,
the thing I don't like
everybody's
about it
bolstering up
is that I would rather us be more self-reliant, and this is pushing us towards an EU orientated reliance. Like, if we can build our own, great, but I don't want to switch U.S. dependence to European dependence, and that's a big concern I have with Trump. We only got a minute 30. This is one it's important. King Charles stated the government will pursue net zero targets while supporting resource workers during the transition.
What does that mean?
It means a move away from Alberta energy.
We are
Canadian
beyond net zero
natural resources. It's fine.
What's their formula?
It's a bit of a nod to energy workers. It's a little bit better than outright like vilifying them.
Yeah.
But the real thing is, and also maybe from a conservative lens, is how can net zero targets be reconciled at the same time of producing energy, oil, and gas, when there's a giant argument that actually makes the world a better, cleaner place when Alberta actually has investment and we get our energy out. This is going to be a big move towards Alberta independence with what's going on.
Well, and we apparently have some of the cleanest natural gas in the world, and we don't capitalize on it. And there's other places that the way that they extract it is dirty compared to ours, and that we have some of the cleanest in the world.
I guess my big critique of the speech, and although this isn't expected from the king doing this, but again, there is really a lack of clarity on fiscal strategies on how we're going to do that, and we're still seeing that from the Carney government. How? We all need to ask that. How? All right, we're going to roll. Anything else?
No, I think lots in there. Stay up to date. Connect with us. Comment. Let us know. We love watching it.
See you next time.
Show goes on.